Welcome home. We are WNST. Towson, Baltimore. Baltimore Positive. We are positively into this close to summer. I swear by the weekend, summer's going to be here. Although it did feel like summer a little earlier. Certainly feels like summer. We're getting out on the Maryland Crab Cake Tour. We've done it a couple of times a week all month long, sort of wrapping things up a little bit. Thursday at Costas in Dundalk, watching the Orioles and the Yankees in the rubber match. And then next Tuesday, which would be more feasible for many of you to join us at Pappas in Parkville, we will be at the Original. So don't look for us in Glen Burnie or Bel Air or Cockeysville. We're going to be in Parkville early in the afternoon. I got some great guests coming to Pappas on Tuesday as well. I have some great giveaways. The Gold Rush Sevens doubler. I even learned how to say it. I heard myself say it the wrong way on the radio last week before I knew how to say it the right way. Gold Rush Sevens doubler. We had a $20 winner last week at Cooper's, as we did Fleet Week and Duck Down Below. We had all those Phillies fans in town. Also, our friends at Liberty Pure Solutions, keeping our water crystal clear. I talked to Doug last week. We're going to be having him on the Crab Cake Tour. And Jiffy Lube Multi-Care, keeping my car nice and cool so I can get to concerts, get to ball games, get to the beach, get places here this summer. In the summertime, always good time to check in with John Martin, our executive director of all things Maryland Lottery and Gaming. You know, when the Orioles start facing the better pitching, I'm just trying to win the games and survive the series. No offense to you or I'm not as focused on we have to hit a lot of home runs or they have to be grand slams, but they did hit 4 on Sunday. So this starts to cost you a little bit of money. But the grand slam thing, let's just get some starting pitching. I'm not trying to be too ambitious. Do you have a pitching contest we can have?
There seems to be a dearth of starting pitching, and my beloved Guardians are probably in the echelon of people most desperate for starting pitching. But you know, I looked at our tape because if nothing else, I watched the films just like the pros do, Nestor. I watched the films after our performance, and you were rather down on the Phillies pitching staff and woefully anticipating a lack of home runs. And yes, we had a contestant of the game on Sunday, 4 of them, $2,500 winner, bam.
Well, you know what's more impressive is that Jim Palmer, and of course this is, Jim being glib, has dubbed the left field wall the Great Wall of Baltimore, as to have moved it back 30 feet as they did a few years ago. I even believed on summer nights that this would wind up benefiting the Maryland Lottery in this promotion. I really thought there would be less home runs, but then again, I didn't account for like how this was going to play from a pitching. And hey, by the way, I'm looking at the schedule here. Is this Guardians week for you and me? We don't have a lot of these anymore, do we?
You know what? We don't. Coming up next week, unfortunately, I will not be here. I will have to have someone else represent.
Oh, okay. You planned this. Are you going to the games?
Yeah. No. I did not plan this. It was planned for me. So there you go. So my presence is requested elsewhere. But no, I'm hopeful that it is very competitive. I'm hopeful that we, on the one hand, hand out home run riches winners, but not in large doses, just enough to keep people enthusiastic about it. And then you can open up the Grand Slam vault after we leave town.
Well, I know you hate when I peel back the personal onion on John Martin, the sports fan, but you really are a big sports fan. You're a lifer. You're a lifer Clevelander who has done lotteries and done things. You're here now. We talk home run riches, but your love of baseball, and we talk on the air, off the air about it a little bit, and the Guardians speak to that a little bit because, like, Luke Jones was born 2 weeks, and he'll be telling me the story at over Costas week. He was born 2 weeks before the Orioles won the World Series in '83, right? And because I talk so much baseball,
wait, he doesn't remember it?
He has this beautiful story. His father was an usher at the Oriole games, famously pictures. His father passed away about 20 years ago when he was a young man, and his father could have worked the World Series, but because he was so excited to have a baby boy, he stayed home and watched the games on TV and thought later in life they would have a chance to see it together. His dad's been gone 20 years. He just had a niece join the world this week. Luke did, so he's a niece uncle for the second time. But there are so many people in my space that are younger. My son's 39, who haven't experienced the World Series thing. You've been searching for it, LeBron aside and all of that. But like baseball, I mean, these Yankees fans, they've won a lot. The Red Sox, we watch the Cubs fans get theirs. For my generation, and I watched them win in '83, and there are a few people out there that remember, 70, and I remember 79 and all that, but baseball's like this lifetime. You wait and you wait and you wait and you hope and you hope. And you're no different than us at this point, waiting and hoping.
You know, it is ironic you bring it up for the discussion this week of all weeks. Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays
Oh,
passed
yeah.
away. It was before I was born, but who can never ever forget, because we've all seen it now millions of times, his incredible catch in the 1954 World Series against,
The Clevelanders.
there you go.
I
There you
can't
go.
say the I word anymore.
There you go.
The group from Cleveland.
So yes, even before I was born, there was a little bit of woe is us. Matter of fact, you could look it up, but I know you will, but not during the show. The 1954 Cleveland Indians at that point, I think, had won the most games ever for a major league team at that time. I think they won like
16 or
108,
something.
111, or
Yeah, it was like
some
a
ridiculous
lot.
number. Because
Yeah.
again, that was 154
154, right. Okay.
schedule. So I mean, they were overwhelming, and they got swept 4-zip.
You know,
And
one week I'm going to
Mays made
have
that
you on, and
catch.
you're not going to be John Martin or the Maryland Lottery. You're just going to be John, baseball guy. And because, like, you are encyclopedic about it, when I get after you about your baseball, you really know the sport and you love the sport. What do you love about baseball all these years later? The waiting and the hoping is the thing that when I look into the eyes of Orioles fans, and when I see the excitement for that, it is a lot of people have never experienced this. I'm 55, so I was 15 when they won the World Series. I turned 15 that weekend. It was a weekend of October. They won on the 16th. My birthday was the 14th on Game 3. So I mean, I've been waiting, and I've been on the radio documenting this for 32 years now, but 40 years in local media. This is when the hope gets built like this. I think it hurts even more when Bradish goes out last week,
Sure.
and Luke and I are like, hey, they got to go get pitching, and then there's the Aaron Judge thing this week, and I mean, baseball's so daily, and I think that that's the part of it that I loved so much, that I missed so much here when the team wasn't great. It's a lot of fun when your team's good. And it's
You know,
fun because this week it's the Yankees. This weekend I get to talk about those cheaters and those louts down in Houston. And next week we get Cleveland. And there's this rich tapestry of Baltimore Cleveland. There really is.
I think you hit it. I think it is that refresh literally daily, that no matter what happened the night before. And I'll go back to the other heartbreak in 1995, when again the team won a ridiculous amount of games and then had a very poor showing in the World Series against the Atlanta Braves. But that, yeah, it is that hope every day is a new day, is a fresh start. And you know, you start winning early, like Baltimore and Cleveland have this year, and that extends, right? I mean, those games count the same in April and May as they do in September. So don't just say, oh, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it matters. And so to be ahead and then have problems with both teams in the starting pitching, can they hang on? Can they find the arms that they need? Because teams like the Yankees and the Mariners, who saw that coming, you see some teams that are now seem to be built for the long haul, and teams like Cleveland, and I think Baltimore's in for the long haul, clearly, but I'm fearful that my team may not be there at the end.
It's these are the good days in Baltimore for baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I promise you that. For all of the years that we've watched it, it's just so much fun to just talk about baseball in the middle of a lottery segment. Maryland Lottery
Oh,
presents our Maryland Crab Cake Tour, puts us out on the road. I will have the Gold Rush Sevens doublers. John Martin will have the bags full of money to make sure everyone is paid on the up and up. If you win these $20, I hope I get 100 out
sure,
or 50 here
sure.
soon. For you with the summer and with events and all of this going on, I know we talked Olympics last week. You're pushing different new games and new things we're doing this year. I know we're getting ready for Ravens too, because that's right around the corner as well. But this is a time where the lottery, I think people get out and touch it, because you're out doing everything I'm doing, everything my wife has been struggling to do on crutches, whether it's at the zoo, whether it's at fairgrounds, whether it's at wine festivals, weekends. This is the festival season, as you Midwesterners would say.
We have lots of fun all year long, but certainly the summer months, and we look forward to getting out and about. So not only do we have, you hear something that we're doing for the first time, because it's the inaugural event. It is the Ladybug Music Festival, June 29th. So
It says
Saturday evening.
music, so I'm already interested. As long as
Oh,
it's not too country or too rap, I'm in.
It's music. It's apparently this Ladybug Music Festival is a nationwide thing, and it's coming to Maryland. So check it out if you like food, if you like music, if you like artisans, and who doesn't like those three things in
This is a
combination?
celebration of women in music. It
It
is the
is.
country's largest free festival with 100% female fronted lineup. The late Old Ellicott City, is that correct? Am I
That is
reading this right?
correct. That's where we will be. You will find us there with our prize wheel for those attendees 18 years of age and up. But yeah, come out, check it out, have a good night.
Sarah Shook and the Disarmors, plus all of this women-fronted magic. Man, this is like 50 bands here, 50 different performers. All right, I like it. Ellicott
Yeah.
City, Howard County, let's do it. Sponsored by the Maryland Lottery and the Fund for Art in Ellicott City. There you go. I'm reading right from the website here. So I love the
Hey,
web. I couldn't do this back in the old days.
oh,
Just pull
what
up
did
a
we do
website,
without it?
you know?
What did we do without? We trusted our fleeting memories to come up with things. But here's something else that you'll find if you go to mdlottery.com. Next month, month of July, because you seem to like festivals, Nestor. I picked up on that. Music, food, good time. So that seems to be your wheelhouse there, isn't
Yeah,
it?
not this summer. My wife's in a
Oh,
can,
that's right.
like,
That's
yeah,
right.
what I've learned to do is drop her off close to the street, sit her down, and she can't move. So she doesn't really get to see the festival. I have to go out
Well,
and
there's a
fetch
comforting thought.
Listen to me. Heritage Fairs next week in Dundalk. We don't miss Heritage Fairs in
No,
Dundalk, right? I
no,
mean,
you
we really
can't.
don't. You can't. I mean, it's against the rules.
Aren't you the
So
Grand Marshal?
that was in a 1 or 02. Once you
Okay.
do it once,
Okay.
they don't invite. They
They don't
find
they
other.
don't come back. You
They
can't.
may get
Okay.
fine. They're trying to get
You're
Bucky
retired.
Lassick in there. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
but
right.
anyway, so you're doing more festivals.
We are in July in Mitchellville. Now, again, I told you this last time. I have not been to many places in Maryland. I will acknowledge again, I have not been to Mitchellville, Maryland. But on July 20th, I may
That's near
be there.
Annapolis, I think, if I'm right. If I got my geography right.
No,
Let me see if I'm
no,
right.
you're way
Am
off.
I,
You're
am I,
way
am I
off.
wrong? Where is it?
You're way off.
I'm thinking Davidsonville. That's what I'm thinking. I'm sorry.
Prince George's County.
Okay.
We will be at the Lake Arbor Community Center for what is billed as the 14th annual Lake Arbor Jazz Festival. So a little different music than the Ladybugs.
Lake
But
Arbor
again,
is a community I'm looking at. It's right on the belt. It's right by where the Capitol Center was. Honestly, I mean that's easy. I see. I should know Mitchellville. I'm embarrassed. I failed my Maryland card.
well, no, that's all right. You're fine. But again, food, vendors, merchandise, lots of good stuff there. And again, our prize wheel and our team will be there on July 20th. So a couple things coming up in the summer. We have new games we launched this week. We have new scratch off games. We have a very popular game for us. It's a $10 price point. It is called Win 50, 100, or $200. It is the second edition of that game. And as it sounds, you can only win three prizes: 50, 100, or $200 at a $10 price point. So if you're lucky enough to win one of those prizes, it'll be a nice little return on your investment. Look for that new at retailers. We have a $5 scratch off called Lots of Cash, which is always fun to win cash. Top prize $50,000 there. We have a $3 Diamond Bingo. Top prize $30,000. And a $100,000 crossword at a $10 price point. You know, people in Maryland really like what we call these extended play games, Nestor, crossword and bingo, because it takes a little time. You know, if you really enjoy playing the game, you play the bingo, you've got multiple cards on your scratch off, multiple ways to win. Same thing with crossword. You have multiple games there to play. So people who do enjoy those games like the leisurely aspect of sitting back and not just hurry up, scratch that I win, hurry up, scratch that I win. You know, they enjoy a little more relaxed environment.
All right, so I'm looking at this, and I pulled this up for everybody that's watching the video out there on the Diamond Bingo and the crossword. John, what I would say about them, so my wife likes Wordle. We play Wordle every night. We do the little thing or whatever. Crossword and bingo, people know how to play the game. Like the Pac-Man game, people have played Pac-Man. I didn't get a lot of questions when I handed out. When I hand out games, some people just get real confused about
Yep.
how to play the game, right? And like my wife has never played Scrabble in her life, and I keep saying, you love Wordle, you would be a great Scrabble. It's a gateway drug for me to get her to play Scrabble because I've been trying for 20, because I'm a Scrabble guy, I'm a word guy, right? So, but the way the games are played, and I always say to folks, download the app and you can zap it. You know what I mean? We can skip to the skinny as to whether we won or we have a winning ticket or we have to see MD Lottery and come see John or any of these ways. But I am much more of the school of like figuring something out. I'm not a crossword guy. I covered a lot of all those baseball relief pitchers back in the 90s. They're always playing crossword. That wasn't my thing. I was more of a Scrabble guy. But bingo, everybody understands bingo, and that's fun to play. So in some cases, some of these games are enticing because I know how to play it. Sometimes I hand these out and people are a little befuddled about how do I play? What are the rules? And trying to figure it out. And I'm terrible at reading the fine print. You know this about me, John.
I do. But you know what's fun about playing these games, Nestor? Winning these games. And we've had a number of winner stories here in the last week or so. Interesting stories at that. We had a Cecil County woman who nearly collapsed, Nestor, after seeing her $250,000 prize on a scratch off. Imagine that.
I was going to say, I didn't think it was 250. You stopped. You gave me that pregnant pause, and I'm like, man, she passed out over 250. It's nice, but
she was playing.
That's $250,000.
That's a lot. That's a lot of morning coffee because she was on her way to work, stopped her on her routine, went to the local store, which happened to be Wawa in Aberdeen, and gets her jumbo cash scratch off ticket. And as often happens, people stand in the store there and they scratch the ticket and they see some things there that maybe look a little different to them, and then they scan the ticket and they see either a prize amount or
CMD lottery. It's what it says, correct? Did it say that or no?
On this one, some of them actually tell you the amount. It may have had the amount right there, but a lot of times they'll go to the clerk if they're not sure.
Hold on, it says it right there. You're standing there in the convenience store, and it's 250 grand. Boom.
Yep.
I don't know what that would pass out. You'd have to call the paramedics down Providence Road.
Yeah, but that's fun, right? And here's another fun story. We had someone who was let me get it back for you. It's a great story. I don't want to miss it.
Well, let's get it right then. That's it. John Martin, Executive Director of all things Maryland Lottery and Gaming here. Go for it.
Thank you. Pick 5, another popular game for us, where players can pick a 5-digit number. Maybe it's their license plate number, maybe it's their street address, maybe it's the birth date or anniversary date, but something that's personal to them. And we had a gentleman, and you can find out the details at mdlottery.com, Anne Arundel County man, who decided he was going to play pick 5, loved the game from the start. And once upon a time, he asked for a number and the clerk inadvertently gave him the wrong number. Now, there's two schools of thought. And the prevailing school of thought is when a lottery player gets something handed to them, there's a lot of, oh boy, something's going to be wacky here. I'm going to take that ticket. I'm not going to give it back.
Can you send it back and say no? Or
sure.
You can. Sure. Okay. I didn't know if you could cancel a lottery. I'm only asking because I hadn't thought about that. That happens every day for sure.
For some games, that's easier than others. Some games you cannot cancel. Mega Millions, Powerball, the large multi-jurisdictional games you cannot. But pick 5 game, if this guy was really married to his original 5-digit number, he could have said, no, that's not what I said.
Cancel transaction. There's a way to do that.
Right.
Okay, fair enough.
But he did do that. He kept that number, and he actually won on that ticket. So he decided, you know what, this is going to be a good ticket. So he keeps playing it. He won $10,000 on that ticket. That was the mistake. And now he plays that number. And
I hope when he buys his boat with the money, he calls it happy accident. What do you think?
Well, that might lead to other things. But then he decides to keep playing this number, and he bought not 1, not 2, not 3. He bought 4 $1 tickets, which he certainly can. So I'll cut to the chase. He wins again on it, but 4 tickets worth 4 times 50,000. Nestor, get out the calculator.
That's 200,000.
That's $200,000 prize win. That's a nice win.
They taught me math and
quick math.
Yeah,
all from a mistaken ticket. But that's
you could buy a boat with 200 grand and call it happy accident and I hope he went back to the clerk and at least bought him a candy bar or something, just did something nice for him,
That's you would hope. I think he would. I think he's that kind of guy.
So you're saying my lucky number might not be my lucky number. My lucky number might be like,
ooh,
right? You never know.
Well, you never know. Yeah, it's lucky after the fact, is it not?
It is.
I mean, right now they're numbers, but depending on how lucky they are is really.
Listen, I was trying to explain cash pop to my wife the other day. And I'm like, no,
Did you do better than I did?
Awful. I was terrible at it. So I hope to get this right as a spokesperson for the Maryland Lottery. I hope I can figure it out. But I tried to explain it to her, and I'm like, no, it's the simple game. And I'm thinking, if it's so simple, why am I having a hard time explaining it?
Did you do it with the website at at your
No, I
fingertips.
didn't.
See,
And she's not likely to play that. She's much more of a Mega Millions Powerball person. She just is.
sure. Well, as long as she's playing responsibly.
She is a dollar or two, sometimes five. I'll be honest with you. John Martin is here. He's executive director of all things Maryland Lottery and Gaming. Listen, I have to let you go. I know next week you won't be here to either lick your wounds or spike the ball on the Guardians and the Orioles over the weekend, or excuse me, in the middle of the week. I'll just say this on the baseball thing because you're such a baseball historian. You mentioned Willie Mays, and Luke and I didn't get a chance to talk about Willie, Mickey, or the Duke earlier in the week, and we're going to do that at Costas. We're doing a long form sort of baseball nerd thing, which is what we've been doing at Fadley's in the Maryland Crab Cake Tour on Fridays because we don't want to talk about tonight's pitching because we want it to run. And it's just more like baseball nerds getting together doing Hall of Fame talk or All-Star game talk or rules. 2 weeks ago, we did why walks weren't that important. Here's something for your baseball historian that I did not know. My dear friend John Arand, who a longtime sports business journal, he's actually the guy that broke the story that David Rubenstein was buying the Orioles from the Angelos family about 6 months ago. He sent me a personal text like an hour after Willie Mays died, and it was a Twitter from Bob Ryan, who was supposed to come on the show a couple weeks ago, but he'll be coming on soon about Bill Walton and some other things. Bob Ryan of the Boston Globe. Bob Ryan tweeted in the aftermath of Willie Mays' death, Luis Aparicio is now the oldest living Hall of Fame baseball player. And that made me pause. And I've been Googling that. I went to the Cooperstown page to see all the living baseball Hall of Famers. And Billy Williams is still alive. Jim Palmer's also of the era who pitched. I mean, Louis played in 56. There's nobody left that played in 56 or 57 or 58. Palmer came in 64. But like from a baseball history standpoint, the death of Willie Mays is we're going to talk more about that this summer, I think. And I'll talk more to you about Colavito and all of your pictures of sudden Sam McDowell that show up on my timeline because I mentioned him to you,
Yeah, no, and Willie Mays, again, back before there was interleague play and all those things, you didn't get a chance to see him play, but when you did at All-Star games and you saw arguably the most complete baseball player ever. Agree? Disagree?
He said it was Clemente.
Mays did?
Mays said Clemente was the greatest
What's he going to say? It's me?
I don't know. Mantle wouldn't have had a hard time with that. Ricky Henderson, ask him.
Well,
John Martin is here. He's a baseball fan and the executive director of all things Maryland Lottery and Gaming, keeping things on the up and up, always educating us, always in good spirits. I will be in good spirits on Tuesday at Pappas in Parkville, not Cockeysville, not Bel Air, not Glen Burnie. Pappas. We'll have these Gold Rush Sevens doublers before the 4th of July, and then we're going to roll out a whole new crab cake tour schedule for July and into August, and then in September, the Maryland Oyster Tour to celebrate our 26th anniversary. I am Nestor. We are WNST, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore. A little baseball history. Maybe some salamis this weekend against those cheater louses down in Houston. We can give John Martin to give some more money away. It's Home Run Riches. It's Baltimore Positive. Stay with us.